these individuals with us today to stand and receive our thanks. This is certainly a proud day for each and every one of you. Please stand. At the heart of any great institution is its faculty. They are the ones who day in and day out teach, guide, counsel, and encourage our cadets. I include in this influential group our military staff and those who coach our athletes. Ancillary to these groups, but also critical and committed to the core, is the multitude of institute personnel responsible for daily operations. Please join me in expressing thanks to the Institute's faculty and staff. The class of 2023 matriculated on August 17, 2019, with a strength of 515. About 61% of you came from the Commonwealth of Virginia, while others joined us from 34 states and 3 foreign countries. Today, we celebrate graduates. This includes 7 cadets from the class of 2022 and 3 from the class of 2024. Adding graduates from other ceremonies this academic year, VMI will grant a total of 327 degrees this year. Of those graduating today, over 53% are commissioning into our armed forces. This year we have cadets commissioning into the Marines, the Navy, the Air Force, the Army, and the Coast Guard. There are also some in this graduating class who will commission this summer or will complete Officer Candidate School. These numbers reinforce VMI's historic mission of producing citizen soldiers. Along these lines, a number of VMI cadets, staff, faculty, parents, and family members, and many others in the audience today who are currently serving or have served. Would all of you please rise and receive our heartfelt appreciation for your service to our nation. Please rise. Class of 2023, you probably remember the sweltering hot Saturday in August 2019. And I'm sure you came to the realization very quickly that you did not choose an ordinary college when you met your cadre that afternoon. Your training was hard and you endured that summer heat. Your cadre chose a muggy, humid morning to hike up House Mountain, but the view was worth it all. One of your first breaks from the rigors of that fall semester was a football game on September 7th, a game that saw the Keydets score 63 points. It was a good thing you were in shape because you all had to do a record number of push-ups after each touchdown. That fall, the Corps listened to many renowned guest speakers, including Nancy Giordano, who challenged you to never forget qualities like empathy, compassion, and integrity, and General Joe Votel, then commander of U.S. CENTCOM, who talked about the bedrock of trust during conflict. You went through the standard routines that fall, and everything seemed to be normal, or at least as normal as it could be being around. Upon return from the holiday break, you hiked Robinson Gap with your dykes and held a rat unity event by collecting food for the area food bank. Breakout started long before the sun came up on February 1st, 2020. It was a cool, wet day filled with physical exercise, team building, and challenges your cadre to each other. That evening, you formally became the class of 2023. Every cadetship is unique and occurs during a special time in history. Yours was certainly different and unlike anything in recent memory. Some of you may remember that during 2019, there was fear about an ongoing viral outbreak that was plaguing college campuses. It was the measles. However, this became an afterthought after what you experienced in the spring of 2020. Shortly after breakout, COVID-19 arrived in the United States, and our lives were changed forever. You are one of the few classes at VMI to endure the full effects of the global pandemic. Your fourth class year abruptly ended with an in-person learning at spring break, and you finished it with virtual learning. By the time you returned in August of 2020, none of us were quite sure what was in store. You fought through the many challenges thrown your way. You had intense restrictions placed on your education in the virtual classroom. You could not perform physical training in large groups. Your athletic games and seasons were rescheduled or postponed, and you had to return home at Thanksgiving, your third class year. To put it lightly, your cadetship is punctuated with challenges. As we all know, life is full of the unexpected. What matters is how you respond. One of the things I'd like you to take away as you graduate is my recollection of the turmoil about our culture that was imposed upon the entire Corps, and my message to you upon my arrival. Those challenges were never about you, the then third class. Nonetheless, as I asked you, I asked you to own the narrative and let people see who you really are as cadets of character, who embody a code that few, if any, colleagues can come close to living up to. You did so magnificently. You demonstrated to anyone willing to see what this institute really produces, that you are young leaders and you're prepared to take on the challenges the world currently faces. You understand the importance of integrity. You understand tolerance of hate. You embody humility and demonstrate a sense of humor. You have embraced the many differences you arrived with and molded them into the strength of your class. So I want to commend you today for what you've accomplished. I can say without a doubt, your class showed tremendous grit and resilience. You only persevered to the end, but you did it with character. Thankfully, we have been able to return to a more normal cadet experience in the past few semesters. You had an in-person ring figure celebration and trained the class of 2026 with an excellent grad line. You finished strong, and you enjoyed many accomplishments in the classroom, on the athletic field, and in military training. Even your ring says through shared suffering, a reference to the unique set of experiences that your class endured. Today, the Corps is on a good footing, stronger, and more resilient than ever because of your leadership. VMI is a forward-focused institution dedicated to producing intelligent and useful citizens that are grounded in honor and dedicated to treat everyone with dignity and respect. Today, as you move into your future, I ask you to be ever mindful of the rich legacy you leave behind. Remember the important lessons you have learned, many that are quite serious, like a reputation for honor, resilience, dependability, and sacrifice. As you depart the Institute to begin your lives in the military, attend graduate school, and enter into civilian workforce, do not forget what you leave behind. The world you enter consists of people from all walks of life, with many experiences that are different, backgrounds, and values. This diverse group will have various talents, not unlike what you have seen among yourselves here at VMI. They need and they deserve principled leaders of character that will bring people together, draw upon each individual's strengths, and show fairness to all. You know that leadership is not easy, but I challenge you to serve the people around you, because at its foundation, that is what leadership is about. Take these lessons and become leaders in your family, in your community, the Commonwealth, and the nation. The open road now awaits you. I want to personally wish you my sincerest congratulations and the brightest future possible. It is now my pleasure to introduce the valedictorian for the class of 2023, Cadet Samuel Wolf. The valedictorian at VMI is peer-elected by classmates and is truly a high honor. Mr. Wolf is graduating today as an honors student with a Bachelor of Science degree in biology. He was a team captain of the basketball team, served as a lieutenant on the S2 staff, and was a cadet in charge of the Navigators. Yesterday, he commissioned as a second lieutenant in the United States Army and plans to attend medical school at the Virginia Commonwealth University. He provided great mentorship in all aspects of his cadetship and is highly respected by all. Class of 2023, your valedictorian, Mr. Wolf.
Good morning. As we heard, the valedictorian at VMI is an elected position. And this year, we actually had a tie. And it was between myself and Cadet Phil Argauer. And unfortunately, our plans of convincing our class president, Mr. Kavanaugh, to let us settle our differences over a good game of rock, paper, scissors didn't quite pan out. Which is why I'm a little more confused as why I'm up here, because I voted for Phil. So, anyway. Governor Youngkin, Major General Wins, Board of Visitors, faculty and staff, distinguished guests, family, friends, class of 2023, and cadets. It's with a heavy and joyful heart, the class of 2023 bids VMI farewell today. Through these 4 years, we have developed intense camaraderie, all while growing into the men and women this nation will soon call upon as its leaders. We're nothing like the pathetic-looking bunch of high schoolers who matriculated on this floor 4 years ago. At the time, many of us were drawn to VMI by our interest in the concepts of honor, courage, service, and the desire to be part of something bigger than ourselves. We were drawn to VMI in short by our expectations of what it would be like. However, after the countless parades, briefs, inspections, trainings, practices, mandatory fun, and most importantly, the 2 a.m. fire alarms, our once high vision of VMI is growing dim. We have observed the seeming meaninglessness of military regulation. For a year and a half, we experienced a global pandemic that threatened the VMI culture and way of life, and even the potential value of our own degree. And now, as first classmen about to take the cadet uniform off for the last time, I sense that our perspective of VMI is jaded, with even some potential annoyance and indifference. You might even ask, what was the point? VMI has been difficult. We lost a brother Rap, Jamison Clark, early in our cadetship, and have seen the departure of others for a myriad of reasons, whether it be financial, academic, just the loss of the will to continue, and others under less than honorable conditions. Of the 515 that originally matriculated, 306 graduated today in our class. And I'm sure that the theme of a 0530 wake up for practice or PT, followed by class, briefs, trainings, and at long last, the chance to study past taps, all to do it again the next day, is a common experience among us. Many of us have been exhausted by numerous responsibilities, all demanding our full attention. But through these struggles, the class of 2023 has transformed. We have. In a couple months, one of us will attend BUD/S, become a Navy SEAL. Another holds the third highest batting average, I don't know if you guys know this, in VMI baseball history. There are a couple more that continue on hopeful journeys to professional basketball and football. A couple of us were named as the top Army ROTC cadets in the nation, and one has already graduated from Sapper School. One just completed running 24 hours straight to raise funds for Operation Enduring Warrior. A handful of you will be attending law school. A few of us plan on attending medical school. A large number are going to go on to serve in combat arms roles as pilots or other jobs. Some will come on to Ranger School to become leaders of the infantry. Others to nuclear power school. The list goes on and on and on and on. And as another speaker once put it, for the first time in history, over 50% of the RDC can read. Sorry, that's all. So, yeah, I think he passed. So what's the point though? What's the point? VMI teaches the one who will let it. And this is for you, fourths, from us. The one who will let it. To be comfortable with the uncomfortable. To possess a level of mental toughness. At the onset of our third class year, I was inspired by a man named John Piper, who once said, "You don't have to know a lot of things for your life to make a lasting difference. But you do have to know the few things that matter, and to be willing to live for them and then die for them." What's sad, though, he pointed out, is that there are very many people in our generation that do not want their lives to make a difference. All they want is to be liked, to have easy, carefree lives. And that's a tragedy. He went on to tell a story of how two women in his church died as missionaries in Cameroon while tending to the unreached, the poor, and the sick. Both were over 80, and they were on a car near the edge of the cliff. And the brakes give way. Over a cliff they go, and they're dead instantly. And he asked the question, is this a tragedy? Jonathan Daniels, who sacrificed his life to save a young girl. George Marshall, who lived his entire life under the constant pressure of innumerable amounts of responsibility. I wager he found very little rest in his life. Is that a tragedy? No. It would rather be a tragedy for us to not use the discipline we've learned here at VMI. VMI has taught us, to quote John Quincy Adams, to let our actions inspire others to dream more, to learn more, to do more, and to become more. I remember the night we broke out, our RDC president, Stu Spurry, he told us, America is starving for the men and women of VMI. And right now, America needs principled warriors, officers, even fathers and mothers. Let us be willing then to be the leaders that the nation so desperately needs. May we sacrifice our own personal interests and comfort, and even our very lives if need be, for those around us. For I'm sure that in a few short years I will get the call that one of us has already tasted death, be it on the far-flung fields of combat or domestically in an accident. And so I pray for you all that you would find the grace of the Lord Jesus, for whom there is salvation, and to be ready to face death and look on your life with no regret. And as Jonathan Daniel said, I wish you the joy of a purposed life. I wish you the joy of service and honor. I wish you the joy of making the choice to value others above yourself. And I'm sure God has surely blessed me with the joy of knowing you all. And it's been both a pleasure and an honor. Thank you so much. Round 23.
Thank you, Sam, for your powerful and meaningful remarks. Now, ladies and gentlemen, the president of the first class, Mr. Cameron Kavanaugh, will provide farewell remarks to his class and introduce our commencement speaker. Mr. Kavanaugh.
Governor Youngkin, Major General Wings, faculty and staff, friends and family, Rat Ties, and the Brother Rats of class of 2023. Our words will not do justice in describing what it means to be sharing this day with you all. But the coveted day of 16 May in the year 2023. Sam, good man, our class did well. Phil, holy crap, that was quite the conflict of small decision right there. We don't understand who does this class, this nation, this world. Loved ones, I would be remiss if I did not express our appreciation for all those who've gotten us to this day. To God, thank you for your grace and mercy. To our families and friends and significant others, thank you for your love and your patience. To the great mighty class of 2020, our dykes, thank you for guiding us. To the folks who help this place operate, auxiliary services, physical plant workers, the Commandant staff, Colonel Bogart, thank you for investing and caring for what VMI is meant to produce. And I'd also like to welcome today Mrs. Clark and Ms. Jillian Clark, family of our lost brother Rat Jameson, who will forever be with us in spirit. But Brother Rats, once again, there's not quite a way to verbalize this experience. So with that, I try to prepare something a little bit unique for y'all. So I may have a few rhymes along the way, but we'll see how this one goes. See, there's this extraordinary place down yonder in Virginia, right off 81, where everyone says y'all and hun. The folks who stay there are tall, short, skinny, and some even round. There's a Palms, a Maccabees, a Salerno, a Stop In, and all cozied up right in town. It's uphill both ways. Shoulders back, chin in, arms in nice and tight. Go here, go there, in the beginning you're never really quite right. Rats, they're called, scurrying to and fro. From fourth to first shoot, they just get up and go, go, go. But have no fear, it's for a reason. There's a much larger plan. To wipe the slate, equalize, build you into a strong woman, a solid man. You see, there's this anguish and this pain cadets always complain about. Some are valid and some are not, but our adventure, it should carry some doubt. The Institute attaches this tether at your hip. No matter how fast, how far, or for how long, it will always pull you back in. Well, today right here, ladies and gents, that tether will be cut. Freedom, one might say, no more sinking in your gut. That mass that matriculated in the lovely old year of 2019 is the same class who broke out, unified, and became this mighty team. The last charge across that bloody battlefield, some 80 miles up the road. History, thoughts, opinions, a brand new ebb and flow. That team of brothers was bruised, we lost our own, left in the dark. But the hugs grew stronger, the bonds grew tighter, and we will never forget you, Jameson Clark. There came times through global sickness, it shattered everything we thought we knew. Investigations, allegations, and changes that left us questioning when, where, why, and who. Though the waves kept crashing, the leaves kept falling, the expectation was still clear. Continue the journey, remain steadfast, stay strong from year to year to year. Our heads rose higher, our hearts grew fonder, while the weight was bore on our hand. November of 21, joining the Brotherhood of the Ring, where proudly we now stand. The burdens grew heavy as the final parade field lap drew close. The responsibility of the Institute fell on us, the first class, the Mother Eyes new host. Though the hard right may be pursued, not everyone will always agree. We'll learn the rough way, working so much to help folks understand and see. At the end of the day, one can only ever do the best that they can, sticking to what is right for the circumstances at hand. Through problem, anxiety, big decision, or hot topic issue, Brother Rats, we did our damnedest to advocate and serve each and every one of you. I'm sorry if I ever failed you in any aspect, manner, or way. It's been a hell of a ride every single day. And my prayer is that the good outweighs the bad, and we love until the very end. No matter the trial, the tribulation, or the fire, amongst us there's always a friend. The great and mighty class of 2023 possesses human beings who are second to none. And I will share a few who might convince you that regardless of the battle, our class has already won. You see, we have Charles Dixon, Solomon Harris, Laura Wallace, who could together move the entire school. Sam Wolf, Phil Argauer, and Cindy Gagabafi, whose brains are just so darn cool. Hey, have no fear if you ever get into a tussle. You've got Jack Mayon, Liam Vanilla, David Amos, JJ Colantonio, and Jake Pham, who will lend you some muscle. Our leaders, Brandon Marks, Joe Egbo, Colin Fitzpatrick, and Blake T. Smith. The genuine character and honor of these men is far from being a myth. No other class has a Major Fick, Nick Cabell, Jacob Walbert, Denny Kelly, or even close to a Herbert Nelson Brooks. Jack Cawson, Sam Paramore, Aiden Blair, Chase Suffer, and Brad Wag, they're all Peter Pans to my Captain Hook. The opportunity to live in such close distance, friend to friend, are exactly why we all have our Frank and Ryan, our roommates, who no matter what are in it with you till the end. Our class knows a few things about having a good old time. We line them up, knock them back, and then the next morning for BRC we end up just fine. See, the time we call these folks friends has always been, it's been way, way long gone. Members of 23 are the ones I'd saddle up with, shouting me right at dawn. Moms and dads, brothers and guardians, from near and far, we've done it and reached the end. But it's because of you that we could afford to sleep in that lovely hay we call our bed. Sergeant Major Sowers, Colonel Hardsock, Chap Phillips, the trifecta of my sanity. The good and faithful servants, even just a morsel of the men you are, I strive to be. To our Creator, our stronghold, our hope and our peace, Lord God, I thank you for this place, these people, and your grace that will never cease. The beauty of the time is its refusal to abide by any rule or request for less or even more. Through triumph and defeat, we move forward simply hoping to have left it better than before. I have faith that the stars of VMI will continue to align and we will patch any broken hole. That is what we all set out to do, chasing truth and conquering bad, achieving the largest goal. But it's in the hands of 24, 25, and 26 as we wish you Godspeed and send you farewell. Things will be just fine. Enjoy it. Soak it up. You're going to excel. 26, our legacy. Proud and excited, one might even say. Through the blood, sweat, and tears, our babies have continued to make our day. While they traverse and conquer the continuous rat line, they must not do so while in a seat. Nonetheless, with that being said, rat ties on your feet. That right there is what we call the spirit of a brother rat. The love, the care, the trust, all energized in an indescribable fact. Those souls who carry so much pure joy, hope, peace, and will. Our successes will be determined in 3 years by how many of these seats they fill. There is no concept of things being given, as everything is always earned. Believe it when it's said, it's ours, it's personal. Tell others to wait their turn. Every one of us could have chose the easy, the simple, the dull and mundane, but we didn't. We clenched fists, we fought the good fight, we placed our honor above personal gain. We chose a life of integrity, unlike those who will ever experience our story, the hardships, the laughs, the truth, the grand old American glory. This institution is ours. We've done it. With all the chaos that will ensue, other schools and outside critics accuse and moan, but they'll never know the shared suffering we've gone through. The brotherhood our school produces is unmatched, and it stands firm like a trusty old tree. There'll never be such a place that glistens, nestled in this Shenandoah Valley. Never forget, my friends. Cherish your honor. Hold great love in your heart. This nation yearns for people from our school who are good and who stand apart. Brother Rats, Rat Ties, Mom, Dad, and all who hear my voice. Life is good. This institute is special. It's the greatest path of choice. This class has made its presence known, not satisfied with just letting things be. May God richly bless each and every one of you, and forever, Rot 23. Ladies and gentlemen, it is now the honor of a lifetime for me to introduce to you the 74th Governor of Virginia, a native of Virginia Beach, with a wife and several children, one of whom is graduating high school soon. Governor Youngkin paid a visit to our institution a few days ago and gathered some knowledge in order to make his remarks as genuine and personal as possible. And I can tell you, whether you've seen him on TV, in papers and newspapers, or anything of that nature, he's a genuine man. Stands tall above many of us, especially the short folks in the room. But it is my distinct pleasure, privilege, and honor to introduce to you the 74th Governor of the Commonwealth of Virginia, Governor Glenn Youngkin.
Good morning. Thank you, Lieutenant Kavanaugh, for that very kind introduction. General Wins, President Wadley, members of the Board of Visitors, faculty, staff, Corps cadets, friends, family, fellow Virginians. What a distinct privilege it is to be at the Virginia Military Institute to address the Corps of Cadets and to join you in honoring and congratulating the class of 2023. It is particularly special for me to be honoring you on your commencement, as many of you honored me by leading the parade at my inauguration, something that I will never forget. Thank you. As you have heard, just 2 weeks ago, I had the opportunity to visit you on post. It was an amazing experience to be here with you. I visited many of the Commonwealth's wonderful colleges and universities, and I love meeting with all the students. But I have not had a more memorable experience than touring, seeing the barracks, talking with many cadets, hearing your experiences that have shaped your lives over the last 4 years. In fact, when I walked into the old barracks, it was overwhelming to be greeted with so much cheering. I'd like to think it had something to do with me being your most favorite governor. Yes, I'll have to admit, it probably had more to do with me granting you amnesty and wiping your demerit boards clean. Your journey began here in Cameron Hall almost 4 years ago. You sat with trepidation with your family in these very same bleachers. You made your way down to the start of the rat line and committed your lives to something greater than yourselves. And it's a testament to your strength and perseverance that you have made it to the finish line. Congratulations to the class of 2023. This class is unlike any other. As you have heard, you have endured the pandemic, and you have dealt with distractions that were not of your own making. And tragically, yes, you lost a brother rat, Jameson L. Clark, whose life and legacy live on. His brick is here, as it has been for this class's entire journey. And so how appropriate that the words you inscribed in your class ring were through shared suffering. Happily and not surprisingly, there were more highs than lows. You forged friendships in barracks, built relationships with instructors, professors, and coaches. You grew in self-confidence and self-discipline. In the spring of 2021, you won the Southern Conference Football Championship for the first time in over 14 years. And it's even the more sweeter when you beat the Citadel. Your student-run newspaper, The Cadet, recently won 7 awards from the Virginia Press Association, including the highest award for journalist integrity and community service. And I'm told a good source, the meals have significantly improved in the mess hall. Okay, maybe not everybody agrees. But when I asked the question, what's the source of this dramatic improvement? I was told very directly, we have new leadership, sir. And so I'd like to thank Tracy Hyman and Rebel Walker and the entire Crozet team for making the meals better at VMI. You experienced the highs and lows as a class. That's the VMI way. You were there for your fellow rats. You relied on your fellow cadets. And you were blessed to have those lifetime bonds. I mean it when I say I don't believe there is a graduating class anywhere in the United States of America quite like you, the class of 2023. Thank you, VMI. Later today, you will exit through Limits Gate with your diplomas in hand and head out into the world. A world that will be filled with unlimited opportunities, countless choices, and real moments that will challenge you to the core of your being. A sick parent or spouse, a challenged child, a best friend who dies from cancer. And trust me, at every opportunity, at every choice, at every challenge, you will stop for a moment and you will reflect. And you will ask yourself that most important life question: who am I? Who am I? In your prayer life, you will ask, Lord, who did you make me to be? And while there will be people you have not met and events that have not yet occurred that will meaningfully influence your future answer to this question, you today are fully equipped to answer, who am I, with confidence. Let me remind you of a few things. When you ask, who am I, you do not lie, cheat, steal, or tolerate those who do.
complicated world could there be any more inspiring truth? Men and women who live honorably. When you ask, who am I? You live by a code. A code that incorporates words like integrity, character, respect. A code that stands against prejudice, hate, and oppression. A code that honors our great country, our commonwealth, the core, family, and friends. A code that demands that you take responsibility for how you present yourself, what you say, and how you behave. You live by a code. When you ask, who am I? You have gratefulness in your heart. At a time when the expression of gratitude has been replaced with a culture of entitlement, you know that two of the most powerful words in the English language are thank you. When you ask, who am I? You place honor above self. This is more than a tagline on a brochure. It's a way of life, a commitment to be more than a leader, to be a servant leader. When you ask, who am I? You graduated from an institution whose mission, and these are my words, whose mission it is to produce exceptional men and women, truly exceptional men and women by any measure. The history of this institute proves my point, and you know these stories, but they are worth repeating. The story of a cadet who gave the valedictorian address at the commencement for the VMI class of 1961, a name frequently repeated here, Jonathan M. Daniels. Yes, this is well known to you. When Jonathan received his diploma, he too was asking the question, who am I? First, he went to graduate school at Harvard to study English literature, and then he heard a call on his life to go to seminary. And of course, in the summer of 1965, while still in seminary, he went to Alabama with 22 others to participate in the civil rights movement. He was arrested and then released from a local jail when Jonathan and a Catholic priest took two teenage black girls to get a soda. They were met at the front of the store by a part-time deputy sheriff with a shotgun, raised to shoot Ruby Sales, one of the black teenagers, with him. Jonathan pushed her down to safety and took the blast that was meant for her. He died instantly. Jonathan Daniels heroically answered the question, who am I? He was in Alabama, doing his duty as he believed God called him to do. He was selflessly looking out for others. And there is nothing more honorable than giving one's life for another. Believe it or not, one of the greatest Americans of the last 200 years, General George C. Marshall, VMI class of 1901, also asked the question, who am I? John O. Marsh, the Secretary of the Army under Presidents Reagan and Bush, often told the story of young George Marshall trying to decide where to go to college. Young George accidentally overheard his older brother tell their mother that VMI would be too rigorous and too hard for George. Well, instantly, the future general whose ability and character would be compared to George Washington knew he must go to VMI. Each of you know the details of his legendary career, but he would be faced again with the question, who am I? And the principles of duty, loyalty, and selflessness that he learned here at VMI helped him answer the question and change the course of history. You see, General Marshall longed to lead combat during World War II as a field commander, perhaps having the job Allied commander that was destined for Dwight Eisenhower. President Roosevelt knew of Marshall's desires, but FDR felt the country needed him more in Washington, advising the president on this extraordinary conflict that would determine the future of the world. Marshall heard this, and he put his personal desires aside, did his duty, and stayed by Roosevelt's side. Of course, these are dramatic examples of VMI alumni wrestling with the path to their future. But there are thousands more, perhaps not as historic, but just as important. These are cadets like you, who entered the world prepared because of VMI. Just last week, G. Gilmore Minor III, VMI class of 1963, was laid to rest. Gil's father wanted his son to come to work with him in the family business. Gil, who had captained the VMI baseball and football teams, wanted to go into coaching, but a sense of loyalty to his father led him to the family business. He ultimately became CEO, served the state in many ways, including leading the State Council of Higher Education. And if the name Minor seems familiar, the baseball field is named in his honor. Gil loved and served VMI. During my visit 2 weeks ago, I was particularly struck by the energy and pride emanating from this place. You have walked these grounds every day, a place that has withstood the test of time through generations, whispering out the call, the charge to ask yourself, who am I? From brave warriors in our armed services, to engineers, to teachers, to healthcare workers, to business leaders, to ministers, to lawyers, you will be whatever you resolve to be. Yesterday, 106 VMI cadets were sworn in as second lieutenants in the Army. Come on, Army. 15 in the Marine Corps. 17 in the Air Force. 20 in the Navy. 3 in the Space Force. And 4 into the Coast Guard. Collectively, you will be part of the greatest armed forces the world has ever seen. You will dominate land, air, sea, and space. And yes, you will remind all of us that freedom is not free. I want to thank you. I want to thank you for your service. I want to thank you for your love of country. Friends, 4 of you were commissioned into the Taiwanese Armed Forces, ready to defend your home against aggression. Ready to defend your home against aggression from the People's Republic of China. Please know that we stand with you. Others of your brotherettes will be dedicated to the betterment of our society, and I hope some along the way will serve in public service and bring your character to the Commonwealth of Virginia. Through all walks of life, you will forge a better, more perfect union because you are from VMI. So in the next chapter, be confident in your answer to the question, who am I? Be witnesses to what you have learned here. You have worked hard, probably harder than any students anywhere in the nation. Each of you has woven into the very fiber of your being the pillars of honor and service and courage. These are qualities that will lead you to great service and take you down paths that not many will travel, like so many before you. You were etched out of stone, broken down, built back up, touched by the grace of God Himself with an unbreakable bond. Virginia is proud of you. Virginia is proud of you. And while I want you all to build your lives in Virginia, our nation needs you and will look up to you. The world will witness your talents and your successes. So, class of 2023, when you ask yourself, who am I? Stand tall and answer confidently, because you are a VMI graduate and you will inspire the world. In the spirit of the four canons and the four gospels, I'd like to end with words from the Old Testament. May the Lord bless you and keep you. May the Lord make His face shine upon you and be gracious to you. And may the Lord turn His face to you and give you peace. Amen. I pray these things for you, class of 2023. And finally, I stand humbly here before you, and I cannot wait to see the great things that each and every one of you will do. God bless you, and congratulations.
On behalf of the Board of Visitors, Superintendent General Wings, the Institute, and the class of 2023, we'd like to present you with this saber. Express our gratitude for you being here. Thank you, sir.
Governor, thank you again for such meaningful and powerful words. We really appreciate it. I know this class appreciates it. It is now my pleasure to present the awards for the highest achievement to members of the graduating class. Will the cadets whose names are called please come to the steps as they are announced by Brigadier General Moreshi.
We will begin with the Jackson Hope Medals, and just a quick note, this is for highest academic standing, and we had a tie. And I can't tell you because of federal privacy laws what their GPAs were, but it was a tie. But it was broken by the first tiebreaker, which is how many credits were earned at VMI. And so the first Jackson Hope Medal for highest attainment in scholarship, accompanied by the Commander Harry Millard Mason Academic Proficiency Award, a cash prize, the recipient of the first Jackson Hope Medal, is presented to Samuel Harrison Wolf. Cadet Sam Wolf has demonstrated excellence in academics and all other aspects of cadet life at VMI. His classroom performance is punctuated with timely and precise questions that indicate a deep understanding of the topic. His preparation, mixed with his drive and curiosity, has made him an ideal student. The second Jackson Hope Medal for second highest attainment in scholarship, accompanied by the Colonel Sterling Murray Heflin 1916 Academic Proficiency Award. A cash prize awarded to the recipient of the second Jackson Hope Medal is presented to Philip Michael Argauer. Cadet Argauer is deservedly being recognized today for his high academic achievements. However, his contributions and his impacts far exceed his GPA. Cadet Argauer is the utmost professional in everything that he does. He is keenly responsible and always willing to help others. He is an outstanding ambassador for the department, the institute, and his profession. He has been a wonderful leader and role model for his peers and truly a pleasure to work with. The comments I read came directly from each cadet's department head, so they were heartfelt comments. The Society of the Cincinnati Medal is awarded to that member of the graduating class who has distinguished him or herself by efficiency of service and excellence of character while at VMI. The Cincinnati Medal is accompanied by 2 cash prizes, the Richard J. Marshall Award and the Sumter L. Lowry Award. The 2023 Cincinnati Medal is presented to Cadet Samuel Harrison Wolf. Will all of the candidates for graduation please rise? The Academic Board has presented to the Board of Visitors 147 candidates for the Bachelor of Science degree and 159 candidates for the Bachelor of Arts degree, all of whom have been certified to have completed the requirements for graduation from the Virginia Military Institute. Major General Wins.
By the authority of law vested in the Board of Visitors and faculty, I confer upon each of you a diploma and testimony of your being a graduate of the Virginia Military Institute and award you the bachelor's degree appropriate to your major field of study. Institute